Welcome to DentonRadio.com, powered in part by Classic of Denton. Well, hey everybody, we are live in the studio right now with quite the legend. We are sitting down with Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter John Paul White, performing tonight at the Campus Theater at 8, and we got the great opportunity to get to bring you into the studio. So thank you so much for coming by.
It's my pleasure, especially if you open with Legend. I'll just come back tomorrow.
Perfect.
All right.
Perfect. Done deal. It's already booked. John, take care of that for us. Anyways, well, again, thank you so much for coming by. We really appreciate having you here.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure being in Denton again. I played here 2011, I think, over at Dan's.
Oh, wow.
But was just in and out of town. So it's a gorgeous town you got here.
Well, thank you very much. We're pretty big fans of it ourselves, and
you should be,
and super happy to get to share it with others when we can. So you have been working on a new album, or you've got a new album out, Beulah, and everybody should go grab that, of course.
Yes, they should.
But give us a little rundown on this album and what people can expect when they go pick up a copy.
Well, when I wrote the songs for this record, I really was trying not to write songs. I was recently on hiatus and didn't really intend to make music again. I didn't really have a line in the sand that I wouldn't, but I didn't even want to walk across the street and play songs for people. I was really happy just being husband and dad and homeowner. And then we started a little record label, and I thought, well, that's a way I can still be creative and keep my fingers in the game, but not not spotlight myself. But things started growing back in my head, and melodies started coming back, and I couldn't make them go away. So this album is really just like a deluge of stuff that came out really fast, and I just went straight to the studio and recorded it. So it was very unique in that way, that it was all kind of spur of the moment stream of consciousness. And so I'm actively writing songs now for a new record, and it feels completely different. It feels like there's more purpose to it. It's more traditional, more deliberate. What do I want to say? With Beulah, there was no real conscious thought with it. It was just, this has to be said, and let the chips fall where they may.
That's cool. Well, I want to get to talk about the new record as well a little bit, or the one in the making. But where did the name Beulah come from?
It's a term of endearment around our house. My dad used to call my sister that. I had an aunt with that name. I call my daughter Beulah. It's also I would say biblical in nature. It's only mentioned once in the Bible, but you hear lots of songs, gospel songs about Beulah land in reference to heaven. But honestly, the main crux of the idea for me was from William Blake. He had his own kind of mythology with his own Christianity. He had his own little beliefs, and one of those was a place, I guess it's semi-like purgatory, but it's a place you can go, whether through meditation or whatever, and heal, to recenter, to get your life together, to just escape for a while. And you have to come back and reassimilate, but it's a place of, refuge. And I feel like, that's exactly where I've been, and it sounded uniquely Southern, and there was the family connotation too, so I thought this is perfect.
Yeah. Love it. Very, very cool. So you are quite the accomplished guitar player, impressive guitar player.
Let's not get crazy.
So tell us about your favorite guitar and how you got it.
I am holding my favorite guitar. This is a, let's see if I can make sure everybody can see it. This is a 0018 Martin, 1957. And it was given to my family when I was a kid. There's 4 of us kids, and I was the oldest. And a friend of my dad's had no heirs and said, well, surely one of them will play. So it sat in the closet until I was about 16 years old. And I tried to pawn it. I knew the guy at the local music store, and I wanted like an Ibanez. I wanted to be able to shred.
Yeah.
And I went to trade it, and he was like, you don't have any idea what that is, do you? I said, I know I can't shred on it. I know there's no whammy bar on it. And he said, well, just hang on just a second. So he went and dated it and brought it back to me. And he said, just keep this. You'll thank me one day. He could have gave me $100, and I totally took it and thought he was an idiot. Yeah. So I've written just about every song on it over the course of my life. And so certain things sound good on it, and I gravitate toward those, and certain things don't. So it's really a big part of my sound and part of my songwriting and my melodic sense is because certain things really work with this guitar. And for most of my life, I could only afford this free one. So it's really shaped who I am and my artistry.
Very cool. I love it. It's cool to hear such an instrument with such a story. So tell us about Single Lock Records, how that came to be. You've really accomplished some incredible stuff there.
It's no one's more surprised than we are about that. Single Lock was born. Ben Tanner, who plays with the Alabama Shakes, and Will Trapp, who's a local businessman, had this idea. Will was basically just saying, how can I help artists get their voice? What's the major impediment for most artists to be able to do this for a living and to reach the people they need to? Mm-hmm. And Ben said, well, basically capital. They need the money to be able to go in and properly make a record in a proper studio with the proper amount of time, and not have to work 4 jobs, and can't afford a van. And so we decided what we really wanted to do was just help them make a record without a big balance hanging over their head in a studio where there's no clock ticking. And then stick them in a van and shoot them down the highway with a bunch of records, because we still feel like that's the most important criteria for an artist. So they came to me with that idea, and I had the big keep out sign in my in my yard, and but they played me about 5 seconds of St. Paul and the Broken Bones on his phone, because that was going to be one of the first records that came out. And I heard it, and I said, "Okay, I'm in." and have been, both feet in ever since. So cool. I put my record out on Single Lock as well, because it'd be kind of silly for me to try to entice artists to come to a label that I don't want to be a part of.
Exactly. Well, super cool. Well, congratulations on all the success with it as well. And
thank you.
Very, very cool to see such a cool project happening.
Thank you.
All right, so we were kind of talking, we were chatting amongst ourselves here at Denton Radio, and we were all kind of saying, and maybe it's not the case in other places, but I feel like here in Denton at least, Poison and Wine might be the most covered song I hear around town. Open mics and different things go. Poison and Wine's all over the place. So
I hope I'm getting paid for that.
I know, right? Let's hope some kind of royalties coming in.
We'll work something out.
So I had to ask, is there a particular song that you love covering and you go, man, I just love playing this one, even if it's not on stage, I just dig getting to pick on this song?
Well, one thing I should say real quick, I have a good friend that's become a running joke that he constantly puts on social media. Please stop covering Civil War songs. If I see one more cover of one of your songs on social media, I'm going to die. And so it's just running gag. He'll go put it on every single. Please stop covering. For me, I'm a huge country music fan, and I don't consider myself a country artist. I'm not even really sure what that is anymore, but I love singing country songs, and so I love to do old songs, new songs. I really like playing songs from country from the 80s, Dan Seals and things like that in the 90s. I also huge fan of Elliott Smith, huge fan of ELO. So I typically do an ELO song, can't get it out of my head. I usually do it just about every night.
Cool.
Or Dan Seals, All That Glitters Is Not Gold. I do that.
Yeah.
I can never get tired of those songs.
Love it. Very cool. Well, we're going to get the opportunity to hear you play a couple of tunes here in a sec, but before we wrap up with this part, wanted to get to talk a little bit about the new record, what we should expect from that one when it comes out, the piece that you're working on right now.
Well, I don't know what you should expect from this new record, and that's really exciting and really terrifying, because I realize with this record, and I am definitely later in my career for this to be the case, but My first record I made, my solo record, was for Capitol Records, and I had written professionally for 10 years in Nashville.
Mm.
So I had this huge group of songs to pull from. And then with the Civil Wars, things happened really fast with co-writing and everything. So this will be like the first time I sit down and decide, all right, what do I want to say?
Yeah.
What specifically do I want to say, and how do I want to say it? And it's daunting. You know, the options are endless, because I could really make any kind of record I want to, because the label's not, I'm the label.
Right, yeah.
They're not going to demand something in particular. I have a feeling what you're going to be hearing is something that's more country, but my version of it,
Yeah.
my modern take of it, but with, instead of a Waylon or a Willie angle to it, it'll probably have more of a Patsy Cline or a Jim Reeves angle to it.
Okay.
But with modern sensibilities, because I'm looking for a record out there that I can't find, and I think I'm just going to make that record.
Love it.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Well, guys, you have been hearing from the man, the myth, the legend, John Paul White.
Twice.
I know. I can sneak it in there as much as we can. If I can get to 3 before this is over, he's going to move here.
Then
Anyway.
it's going to be weird. 3. You hit 3.
All right,
It's going to be creepy.
we'll cut it off
that
at 2.
point.
We'll cut it off at 2.
Right.
Anyways, so he will be performing tonight at the Campus Theater here in town. If you've not gotten your tickets already, you need to make sure that you get them if they're not already sold out. So check out that show. It's going to be very, very cool. Something supporting the Greater Denton Arts Council, so we're super excited about that, and thank you for playing that as well.
Pleasure.
Now we're going to get me out of here and focus on a couple of tunes from you. So everybody, if your friends aren't listening, text them, tweet them, do whatever you got to do, because we are about to hear live from John Paul White. Thank you very, very much for tuning in, everybody. Here he goes.
Ice, water, drink it down till it's gone. I saw her, drink it down till it's gone. Oh well, there's always a second time around. So bitter in my heart and in my mouth. She's a quitter, but I guess we're both quitting now. Oh well, there's always a second time around. It was hard to breathe when she was holding me, and now she's gone, and I can't get no air. Those old butterflies, I guess they haven't died, 'cause they're eating me alive in there. Please, black leaf, show me where you took my love. Please hurry. This whole world, it ain't enough. Oh well, there's always second time around. Oh well, there's always second time around. And I see clapping from through the glass on the other side, and it's so loud. You just don't even know. It looks loud. That song is called Black Leaf, and a little insight to that song is that um, when I was growing up, I grew up on a chicken farm back in Loretta, Tennessee, and my dad used stuff on the chickens called Black Leaf 40, which was strychnine. Used it for mites and things like that. And I remember him telling us that if we ever touched it, we would die, which was not true. But it had a skull and crossbones on it, and it always terrified me. And so that's what Black Leaf is. You can infer the rest. Someone's gonna hold your hand and everything will click. Touch you in some unknown way that finally does the trick. Pull you in a fairy tale where you meant to be. But someone won't be me. Someone's out there praying for the day that you walk in, and happy ever after can finally begin. Someone who'll stop at nothing to give you all you need. Someone won't be me. And that's okay. I never really loved you anyway. At least not unconditionally. Like subjects love the ones and future queen. If I thought I was good for you, if I thought this could work, I'd reach a little higher and pull you back to earth. But the man you're really looking for, the one in all your dreams, someone won't be me. And that's okay. You never really loved me anyway. Not enough to meet me half the way. All love is something you could only take. That's okay. I never really loved you anyway. At least not unconditionally. Like subjects love the ones in future queen. Oh, it's even louder now, guys. There's like 100 people standing out here outside this glass, tearing their garments, gnashing their teeth. It's ridiculous. You better come tonight to the show and see it for yourself. We got time for one more. Is that cool? Yeah. Well, we were talking about covers that I love, so why don't I do one of those? This is a song by Dan Seals. He was a co-writer on it, and Bob McDill was the other co-writer, who's one of my favorite songwriters of all time. And Dan was kind of a gateway drug for me into my dad's country collection. I grew up listening to his country records, and I hated them. But then when people like Rodney Crowell and Emmylou Harris and Steve Earle and people like Dan Seals came along, I started understanding why I loved their music so much, is because that DNA that I got from my dad and his country records. So. On a poster in the cafe out in Phoenix, guess she's still the sweetheart of rodeo. As for me and little Casey, we still make the circuit in a one-horse trailer and a mobile home. She's still asking about you all the time. Wonder if we even cross your mind. But oh, sometimes I think about you and the way you used to ride out, and your rhinestones and your sequins, with the sunlight on your hair, and oh, the crowd will always love you. As for me, I've come to know everything that glitters is not gold. Well, already he's getting older, and last Saturday he stumbled, but you know I just can't bear to let him go. Little Casey, she's still growing, and she started asking questions, and there's certain things that a man just doesn't know. Her birthday came and you never even called. I guess we never crossed your mind at all. But still, sometimes I think about you and the way you used to ride out, and your rhinestones and your sequins, with the sunlight on your hair, and oh, the crowd will always love you. As for me, I've come to know everything that glitters is not gold. Everybody said you'd make it big someday, and I guess that we were only in your way. But someday I'm sure you're gonna know the cost, 'cause for everything you win, there's something lost. But oh, sometimes I think about you right out. Yeah, your rhinestones and your sequins, with that sunlight on your hair. And oh, the crowd will always love you. As for me, I've come to know everything that glitters is not gold. Ooh, everything that glitters is not gold. Thank you.
Well, everybody, you have been listening to John Paul White performing tonight at the Campus Theater. John, thank you again very much for coming by the studio. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Don't miss your chance to see him this evening live in one of Denton's best venues. Really appreciate all of you guys tuning in here at DentonRadio.com. We're going to jump back into the music. We'll see you later. Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out DentonRadio.com for new Denton artists and where they're playing next. While you're surfing the internet, make sure you check out our friends Classic of Denton at ClassicofDenton.com.